What do you notice on the cover? Sofia Valdez, Future Prez, by Andrea Beatty, illustrated by David Roberts. Sofia was a baby who got things done, helping her family before she turned 1. She and Abuelo went out every week to help elderly friends around Blue River Creek, who couldn't get out and about on their own and with no place to gather, were stuck home alone. Abuelo means grandpa. Raking the leaves, taking pets for a walk, or just dropping by for a treat and a talk. Sofia Valdez did as much as she could for her family and friends and her whole neighborhood. A dreamer, a doer, a real-life go-getter. Most people liked good, but Sofia liked better. What is a go-getter? Each morning, Abuelo walked Sophie to class. They walked home again along Blue River Pass, making plans, munching cookies, Abuelo and girl, except for that Tuesday when Pup saw the squirrel. With a howl, Pup took off, racing all through the town, over, under, beneath, and around. Sophia scrambled to try to keep up with the hollering man and the hollering pup. Up the squirrel ran to the top of a hill made of leftover junk for the local landfill. They reached the tip-top of that mountain of trash, which jiggled and broke with an ear-splitting crash. Down they all tumbled and hit with a thud on a moldy old pumpkin surrounded by mud. "Ouch!" cried Abuelo. He struggled to stand. "A dangerous mess," he said, grasping her hand. The next day, Sofia walked to school solo, but it wasn't the same without her Abuelo. "This is not right," declared young Sofia, who glared at Mount Trashmore and got an idea. The very next morning, at dawn, she planted a sign at the front of the lawn. She stood back and smiled, and Pup gave a bark. "Get rid of Mount Trashmore. Let's build a new park." Each of her neighbors had something to say about benches and fountains and places to play. Meeting spots, gardens, a basket for bees, a rubber duck pond, and a kiosk for cheese. She drew every thought on her map of the park, which was perfectly perfect by quarter till dark. She drifted to sleep in her soft cozy bed, then bam! She woke up when a thought smacked her head. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized each one of her neighbors had said, "Let me know when it's done." They all thought Sofia could build it alone, but how could one girl do so much on her own? The weight of that thought made her tender heart ache, as the night thunder growled as she lay wide awake. The dawn brought a storm and the gloomy sky wept, and the heartsick Sofia finally slept. Apollo baked cookies. When Sophie got up, he gave her a bag full and sneaked one to Pup. He blinked like a tear as he hugged his Sophia. "For courage," he whispered, "te amo mi vida." Sophia's knees wobbled. She felt weak inside. She looked at his ankle and quite nearly cried. Though she didn't feel brave or courageous at all, Sofia Valdez went to face City Hall. What was the time you needed to be courageous? The mayor's office sent her to room 401, the Blue River Creek Department of Fun, which sent her downstairs to room 302, the office of duck ponds and cool things to do, to the office of monkeys, the department of cheese, the division of fountains and meetings and bees, then to the basement so musty and cramped where all the town's papers were sorted and stamped. That's where the clerk said what no one else did. "You can't build a new park. You're only a kid." Those words smacked Sophia down in her heart. Her plan was kabooshed before it could start. "I think," said Sophia, "I think that law is wrong." But her second grade voice didn't sound very strong. The clerk said, "Clearly it cannot be done." "Do you have any questions?" said Sophia. Sophia said one. "If you were me and if I was you and he was your grandpa, what would you do?" Well," said the clerk. Then she said nothing at all. She thought and she thought. Then she sent out a call to every employee throughout City Hall. The entire government of Blue River Creek crammed into the office to hear Sophie speak, but her words jumbled and her cheeks turned bright red as a dozen emotions rushed into her head. Her heart beat so loudly she thought it would crack. The crowd leaned in closer. Sophie leaned back. Then her arm brushed the edge of the old cookie sack. And at that moment, when Sophia first knew being brave means doing the things you must do, though your heart cracks with fear, though you're just in grade 2. What is a dozen? She took a deep breath, looked the mayor in the eye, and though her knees wobbled, she held her head high. Sofia started talking. She spelled out her plan and why it all mattered and how it began. Once she got rolling, she had lots to say about meeting spots, monkeys, and places to play, and other ideas for things they could do to help town elders and other folks too. She had thoughts on the library, she had thoughts on the zoo, and perhaps a way to combine the two. And, all right, cried the mayor, go start a petition. If this town wants a new park, we'll form a commission. And so Sophia got right to work, with some help of her family and pup and the clerk. Have you ever signed a petition? What was it for? Then others joined in, not all but a few, like Miss Lilla Greer and kids in grade 2. There were hearings and surveys and taxes to figure, then bulldozer cranes and blue bigger digger. They all built that park. That's how it got done, with the hard work of, by, and for everyone. But it began with the dream of one person, just one, who laced up her shoes and then led the way to help Blue River Creek get a new place to play. Now every evening till long after dark, the town comes together at Citizens Park. They all hold this truth to be self-evident, that Sofia Valdez could grow up to be president. Until then, Sofia, the real-life go-getter, helps Blue River Creek get better and better. The end. What's something you would stand up for? What was your favorite part of the story? What's Sofia like? Are you like Sofia? Do you have something in common with her?